from an undisclosed location somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere. It's everything Wall Street doesn't want you to know, everything the financial media won't tell you, everything mutual fund managers are hiding from you. This is the voice of the underground, the Wall Street Underground.
There's a man who leads a life of danger. To everyone he meets, he stays a stranger.
What are all the mutual fund promises about this bold new future? How come Wall Streeters aren't running for their lives and mutual fund hucksters? Why is no one talking about the $8 trillion they've wiped out?
Secret agent man, secret agent man, they're giving you a number and digging way on it.
Now, here's the voice of the underground, Maverick International financial analyst, Nick Lorino.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Radio Free Wall Street. This is our 5 o'clock everyday live show beamed around the world on the World Wide Web, and we're going to let you in on the inside, tell you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know. We have started the next recession. We now have the yield on the 10-year Treasury at 3%. Now, for a lot of you, that may not mean much, but what it is this is the source Perrier of money. Money's what drives the market. Money's what drives businesses. People borrow money on their credit card. People borrow money for a car. People borrow money for a house. Businesses borrow money to employ people and rent space. The whole system is based on this huge pile of capital. Now, the problem is that when you take away the money, businesses drop. They wipe out. They go broke. And we are just at such a time. We achieved a 3-year, 10-year bond. Okay, to give you a perspective, that same bond in Germany trades at 0.25%. So now among the civilized world, America has the highest interest rates. And America has the world's biggest debt crisis. And America has a recession. And Americans are tapped out, broke. They've been borrowed money like never seen before. Same thing with U.S. corporations. Biggest amount of corporate debt issuance ever. And the party's come to an end. Very simple situation. It's over. Done. Finished. It was a great ride. It was a fantastic party, don't get me wrong. But now it's over. Now, you need to understand why this yield curve is so important. And the reason why is that banks borrow money in the short end of the yield curve, and they lend out long. The problem is that borrowing money at the short end is costing as much as what they lend it out. They have no spread. They have no profits. Now, to make that even worse, now that the 10-year Treasury is at 3%, that means that trillions of dollars is going to come out of the stock market, come out of other investments, and go into safe, secure U.S. government treasuries. This shift is a earthquake. This shift is a tsunami. This shift means that the world will never be the same again. Every time we go through this, every time we see a huge recession, we see unemployment, we see real estate prices plunge. Why? Well, remember, you need that hot money to be borrowed to pay for that property. You need that hot money to finance business expansion. You need that hot money to make the whole economy go around. The problem is government's sucking it up. So you are seeing a situation that occurs once every 5 or 10 years. Now, the beauty about this thing is it's an ironclad signal that lets us know we're into a recession. We absolutely know what the effects are going to be. We absolutely know the timing. It's kind of amazing. And it is one of the best kept secrets of Wall Street. You might notice how there's so much attention being paid about the Federal Reserve and about the fact that they're raising rates. Well, that's because that short overnight rate, known as the Fed fund rates, is the shortest term instrument available out there, and all the rates are set. And that rate is going to 3%. Now, that puts a yield curve that then inverts negative, which means that you're actually paying more for money on the front end than you get on the back end. Now, for people who know what to do, this is the greatest money-making opportunity ever. For people who understand a flattening yield curve, for people who understand the recessionary cycles, the bankruptcies, the corporate wipeouts, the stock market crashes, this is like the clarion call. Let me try to explain it to you. Wall Street is a buy-only machine. They want you to buy stocks and buy stocks. But underneath all that great buying, they are basically creating those stocks, creating those companies, and Wall Street's a seller. So when they tell you to buy, and you go and you buy your eBay, or you buy Elon Musk with the electric car magician, or you buy Twitter, or any of the darlings of Wall Street, they're sellers, you're the buyer. Now, Wall Street has a trick. It's called equalizer. And that is that every once in a while, about as planned as a launch of the space shuttle, Wall Street reverses. Wall Street trashes the market. That means people bought those shares of stock sell at a loss. Wall Street then buys it and begins the cycle all over again. This is not accidental. This is a plot. This is a scheme. Now, as you have seen in your lifetime, the rich get richer. The poor get poorer. The middle class is wiped out. Home ownership's the least it's ever been. This phenomena is caused by these recessions. It's caused by these stock market wipeouts. It's caused by the credit crunch. It's caused by home foreclosures. These are planned events of milking the masses out of everything they own. And we're just starting the cycle. That means that by this time next year, housing markets will be plunging. Unemployment will be soaring. The economy will be in a recession. GDP plunging. Lack of jobs, lack of business foreclosure. People will be losing their houses, their cars, their businesses. Savings will be wiped out. And the fat cats, very quietly in the background, are making money. Now, this is called the Manhattan Transfer. This is the greatest transfer of wealth. Now, the deal is that you can get in on this. You can make money as the stock market wipes out. You can make money as housing plunges. You can make money as this crisis that is quietly growing in the background gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, the fact of the matter is that a recession cannot be averted. It's part of the economic cycle. It is part of the sun rising and setting. It's part of the feast or famine. It's part of the winter turning into summer. It's part of crops growing in harvest time. It is the natural order of the universe, and no one has stopped it. Now, governments do not stay in power by telling you about a recession. Government's job is to always have growth. That's why everyone's talking about continuing GDP growth. But the reality is that is not a straight upward line. And it's these recessions, these periodic wipeouts, that changes the course of people's lives. Now, let me tell you a little secret. In these wipeouts, you heard about like the last 2007, 8, 9 wipeout? You heard people that got wiped out in the stock market? You know, there was fortunes being made. You heard about people that lost their homes? Well, somebody got those homes. You heard of people losing their businesses? Well, someone got their businesses. Think about it. In our creative capitalist system of destruction and reconstruction of capital, we have winners and losers built in the game. The problem is the masses are always the loser. The masses work their asses off, save their money, buy that house. And then the husband and wife goes to work in America, and they both slave to make the payment. And then what happens? The recession comes along, the layoffs, the job losses, and the home foreclosures. So that means that all that money those people put in those houses are lost, disappeared. Same thing with the stock market. Wall Street is a stock-selling machine. They make stocks, you buy stocks. They sell stocks, you pay for them. But what they don't tell you is that in this process, Wall Street's always the winner. It's a rigged game. Because in the wipeouts, Wall Street gets those stocks back for pennies on the dollars. Wall Street gets back the ownership of the company. They get back the majority shareholdership. And what do? They gussy it up and sell it all over again. Now, we are headed for a crisis in America. I want you to think about the school shootings, the cops being killed in cold blood, the anger of the citizens in America. And what you are seeing is the impoverishment of the masses. And some people lash out. Now, this cycle you're seeing of violence, this cycle of oppression, this cycle of depression, this cycle of job losses, this cycle of houses losses is about to start all over again. Now, that's gold. Remember, Wall Street wants to tell you, well, the stock market's a pause that refreshes, and that it is a normal buy opportunity. What they're not telling you is that these periodic wipeouts are how they flush the toilet. This is how they take the money of the masses. This is the way capital flows from the ordinary people, the working people, to the very few wealthy people. You saw in the 2007, 8, 9 wipeout, most people you know lost everything. Well, the reality, and most people, by the way, still have not recovered from that. But what they aren't telling you is the wealthiest people in the world got even wealthier. The big Wall Street fat cats got fatter. The politicians that are in power now, well, they were fed by them. This is where the seed money comes for the swamp. This is where the money comes for the Republicans and the Democrats. This is where the money comes for the lobbyists and the special interests. This is the source Perrier of the great evil. You are seeing the impoverishment of American middle class. You are seeing the destruction of the hardworking Americans. Now, the violence you're seeing, and you see it spreading, this is the frustration of people who are becoming poorer and poorer. This is the crisis of America. Now, every great empire crumbles, and America's crumbling. You know, you talk about the infrastructure, talk about the airports, talk about the highways, the bridges, talk about the buildings, the factories. And as you look around, except for very small pockets of prosperity and very few industries, the fact of the matter is steel's dying, coal's dying. Factories are closing left and right. Automobile manufacturing is going. And you are seeing these replaced by these great social media digital giants that play by a different set of rules and pay, average worker in one of these great big companies like Facebook or Amazon. On the technical side, it's a $150,000 job. Now, if you're unfortunate to work in the factory where you put things in boxes for Amazon, you're a slave. But the people who are on the winning side of high tech are becoming wealthier and wealthier, and the masses are being left behind. Now, this is an extremely important shift in how America works. This is an important shift in the prosperity of the country. This is a shift that will change the destiny of America, the prosperity of its people. This will change the balance of power. So you need to understand that these are events that are going to affect you whether you like it or not. These are going to affect your retirement. They're going to reflect your savings. They're going to reflect your stock holdings. They're going to reflect every phase of life. They're going to reflect whether your neighborhood is livable. And we are becoming a violent society. We are becoming a country full of desperately poor people. We're becoming people who are very violent. Then this all has the connection in the prosperity leaving America. Americans are becoming poor. The opioid crisis, it's a result of people who are giving up, who are taking a painkiller to make the evil go away, to forget about their misery. You're seeing tent cities pop up in every major metropolitan area in America. You are seeing violence in inner cities grow. You are seeing the impoverishment, the family breakup, the drugs. It's all connected. And its connection is all back to Wall Street's created times of prosperity, the great economic growth, and the cursed recessions, the depressions. We are headed for one. Now, that is the last thing your banker wants you to know. That's the last thing Wall Street wants you to know. That's the last thing the fat cats want you to know. And that is why it's one of the best kept secrets. I mean, you hear about these crashes, but they poo-poo. You say, well, a stock market downturn of 10 or 20% is a normal thing, and it's okay, and nothing to worry about. But what they aren't telling you is the 5 and 10% downturn we're experiencing now will grow to 40, 50, 60, 70, 80% wipeout. What you are not understanding is that this is one of the last hurrahs. The cycle of poverty we enter into now will last over 20 years. The displacement of people will be something unheard of in modern America. Now, we've had the wipeouts, we've had the depressions, we've had the civil wars, we've had the abject poverty in America. We've had children starving, we had farms shut down, we had people displaced, we had slave labor work camps. Yeah, we did, WPA. And we're headed for just that cycle again. And the hell of it is, it doesn't have to happen. The hell of it is that this is a contrived event. These are the fat cats. And the really sad part I'm here to tell you is that we are now far enough along into the next depression, the next stock market wipeout, the next housing crisis, people losing their homes left and right, the next debt crisis, that there's no turning back. We are going into Death Valley. We are going to walk into the destruction of America as you know it. And I'm warning you. Why did it have to happen? Well, that's a complicated issue. How it happens is a lot simpler. Basically, in the last wipeout, instead of letting the big banks fail, the government decided to bail them out. They bailed them out with your tax money. They bailed it out with your prosperity. They bailed them out with your house. They took the house from you, gave it to them for pennies on a dollar, said sell it, and put the money in your companies. You had huge financial crimes, as you know. They paid hundreds of billions of dollars in fines, and no one went to jail. What you don't know is that all those losses you heard about, the MBAs and all those exotic instruments, well, they're still here. And that derivatives casino, well, it was supposed to be wound down. It's gone from 350 billion to 350 trillion to 700 trillion. It's the biggest casino in the world. What they aren't telling you is that banks are in trouble. You're going to see a whole nother round of bank failures, a whole nother round of stock market wipeouts, a whole nother round of companies closing, a whole nother round of household foreclosures. And there is nothing that can be done about it. Why is Fed raising rates? Well, it raises the rates because it has to bail out the economy. And that means it has to lower rates. Well, if the rates are at zero, they can't lower them, so you bring the rates up. And then you do what you can for the small minority of people that got the right lobbyists, the right connections, the right senators in their pocket to bail them out. So you are headed into another recession, another wipeout, another destruction of wealth. Now, let me tell you a little secret. You don't have to go down with the sinking ship. You've got to get your money out of the stock market. You've got to get your money out of bond funds. You have got to get your money in cash. You've got to get your money in treasurydirect.gov, which is the way you buy U.S. government securities. You've got to get your money out of real estate. You've got to get out of debt. And you've got to run and head for the hills. Now, listen, you're going to get out of debt, either through a bankruptcy, and you're going to get out of real estate highly leveraged, whether it's in a foreclosure or you sell it. But this idea that real estate is an investment is bullshit. This idea of the property ladder is crap. This idea that stocks always recover is just plain not true. This idea that we have stopped the cycles of recessions and depressions is just not true. The very sobering reality is the next wipeout has occurred. There is no turning back. We are now entering into the depression zone. We are now entering into the crisis phase. We are now entering into the greatest transfer of wealth ever to occur. That means baby boomers are going to be reduced to poverty. That means that pension funds will not be paid. That means retirement checks people think they're going to get will not be issued. That means that the entire system is going broke before your very eyes. And again, it's not accidental. This is a contrived event. This is a planned sequence of removing people from their savings, removing people from their stocks, removing people from their jobs and their homes. This is the next great play as we enter the next Great Depression. Now, you do not have to wipe out. The key of these depressions, the keys of these cycles are that what it is they bait you by offering you debt. They offer you money on your credit card. They offer you financing on your student loans. They offer lease payments on a car. They offer you a mortgage payment on a house. They offer you all this really easy to get money, knowing they're not going to be able to pay it back, knowing that you'll lose everything. As far as pension funds, well, the reality is that every corporate pension fund in America is woefully underfunded. And many of them are invested in the stock market. So that means that as the stock market goes down, they go down. Money is not safe. Money is not secure. Money is not guaranteed in your bank. Money's not guaranteed. Money's not guaranteed for the full amount in your bank. Now, your pension funds, there's no guarantee. Your bond fund, no guarantee. Your super-duper retirement savings account, high yield, no guarantee. There's no guarantee. There's no regulation. They don't even have to give you the best bond fund for your money in these junk bond funds. The brokers are only required to give you a bond fund. The fiduciary rule does not exist. In other words, they're putting you into a dog shit high yield bond fund. Why? It pays them the biggest commission. It's the ones the bosses want you to go in. Now, we come into the time where markets come unglued. We come into the time of financial panic. We come into the time of the wipeout, and we're just entering that situation now. We are in a market that, as you see, is in big trouble. We are in an economy that is not growing. We got tax break bonanza for billionaires. It's not working. The game here is that we are headed for a recession, and the 10-year yield, the flattening of the yield curve, the movements in the cash markets, the Federal Reserve raising rates, the stock market crashing and starting to go lower and lower are all the warning signs of the dilemma you face, of the crisis that's on the horizon. Now, you can sit there and ignore these warning signs and lose everything. Or you can reshape your life for a recession. You know, these are not events we don't know how they work. It's not like events that haven't happened before. I mean, we know what these things are. We know where they come from. We know how they start. We know how they end. And we know how to preserve our wealth in them. But this is among the best-kept secrets of Wall Street. See, you're not supposed to make money in a recession. You're not supposed to make money as the stock market goes down. You are not supposed to make money in a wipeout, okay? You are supposed to be wiped out. You're not supposed to buy HUD homes at 10 cents on the dollar. You are not supposed to have your savings safe and secure and a guaranteed return. You're the sucker. You're the bait. You're the meat to be eaten. You're the food of Wall Street. And Wall Street's preparing a feast with your money. Wall Street's preparing a feast with your retirement. Wall Street is preparing the economy for the next wipeout. Now, you can sit there and take losses. You can sit there and ignore the signs, or you can position yourself to get fabulously wealthy. The decision, my friend, is yours. Recessions are not surprise events. How to make money in a recession is not some deep set mystery. People know how to do it. What does well in a recession and what does bad is obvious. And it's basically a liquidation debt. See, in the capitalist system, what happens is people borrow money until they borrow so much money they can't pay it back. The recessions, bankruptcies, the depressions are a way of getting the excesses out of the system. The problem is, the last time, government got in the way of the wipeout. Government decided that they did not want to have banking collapses. Government decided they did not want to have financial panic. They didn't want people losing their money in banks. They did not want to have an old-fashioned depression crisis. So at great expense, they temporarily loaned money into the system to keep it propped up. Here's the problem. Those losses are still there. The propping up money, well, they put all the money in the system they possibly can. It is now time for phase two. You know, this 2007, 8, 9 wipeout was just a reprieve. It's still with us. The bad debts, the bad business practices, the huge losses hidden are still in the system. So what's happened is the genie's coming out of the bottle again. In other words, they've held the market up as long as they can, and as you're seeing, they just can't hold up any longer. The day of reckoning is coming, my friends. The greatest stock market tragedy and wipeout ever. The greatest loss of wealth by people in America who represent the middle class and the former prosperous people is upon us. Only a blessed few will hear my words. Only a blessed few will understand what to do. Now, you can wipe out with everyone else and be a lot of company on that road to hell. Or you can wake up, smell the coffee, and prepare for the next great recession. You need to understand something. Recessions are events that cannot be avoided. Recessions are events that telegraph they're coming. Recessions are events that are understood by the few. So there is no surprise there's a recession coming. There is no surprise that it's time to head for the hills. There is no surprise that it's time to liquidate stocks. There is no surprise it's time to get out of real estate. Look around you. Go to a mall. Look at all the empty holes in there. Drive across your town. Look at the homeless people. Look at the businesses shutting in. Look at the closures. And understand that these are the early stages of the next depression. It's not a mystery. It's not a surprise. It is an event that's upon us. Hang on, green tea time. Hang on. Oh, that's great stuff. So, we're the experts on these events. We plan for them. We position ourselves for them. We understand how to make money out of them. Now, many people claim they understand recessions. Many people claim that it's a small downturn. But the reality is that if you're on Wall Street and you are talking about a recession, you are warning people about a stock market wipeout, you're a pariah. Okay? You're the enemy of Wall Street. See, Wall Street will allow you to say the stock market's going down. But within 30 seconds, you're going to say it's a great buying opportunity. Wall Street are going to say that the market is going to go softer, but it's a small, short-term event, and then the market's going to even new highs. Wall Streeters are not allowed to say this is a recession, this is a depression, this is going to last 20 years or more, this is going to change the face of the economy, it's going to change the face of business, it's going to change the face of government, it's going to change the face of finance. Those words they can't speak. Now, I think that's really intriguing since we've had recession after recession. Remember the tech wreck? Remember the 87 stock market crash? You heard about the Great Depression. So we have had these events periodically in our history. We know what they are. We know how they work. But the reality is that evil people take advantage of these crises to take your wealth. Evil people see the resetting of money flowing from the hands of retirees and the baby boomers, as their moral obligation to steal the wealth of people. Once you understand these events, once you grasp the crisis we face, then there's the next phase. What do you do about it? Well, the answer is that there are known, proven techniques that make money in a recession. See, if you don't believe there's a recession, how the hell do you protect your portfolio? If you don't understand there's an economic crisis, then you can't protect. If you don't understand there's a stock market crash, junk bond wipeout, real estate foreclosures on the horizon, job losses, you can't prepare for a crisis you don't believe is a crisis. You can't prepare for a crisis you don't understand. And you can't prepare for a crisis that you don't believe is coming true. And the reality is that people standing there waiting, watching, not knowing what to do, still wipe out. The market has no mercy. It has no kindness. It has no exceptions. A stock market wipeout and depression is an equal opportunity poverty maker. It touches everyone except the very blessed few who know what to do, and I'm here to warn you that we are just at such a time. We are entering a depression. We're entering a recession, a stock market wipeout, a real estate wipeout, and there's nothing that you can do to prevent it. Now, there is a lot of things you can do to make money. There's a lot of things you can do to turn this into profits. There are a lot of tools, a lot of instruments to trade. The problem is your broker doesn't know about them. If he did, he wouldn't tell you about them. The problem is that most people do not know what to do. So I urge you to get your financial house in order. I urge you to understand there's a recession coming. I urge you to understand that a 10-year U.S. government bond paying 3% is the start of a crisis. I urge you that the difference between what yields are in the United States and Europe are a warning sign of the crisis that's building. Now, if you understand that, if you move forward in that, if you protect your wealth, these can be the greatest, listen to me, the greatest money-making opportunity ever is a stock market wipeout. The greatest money-making opportunity ever is a real estate wipeout. The greatest money-making opportunity ever is a financial meltdown. Understand that. Understand the rules. Understand the tools. And you become fabulously wealthy. You are warned because there is no doubt about it. There's no maybe about it. There's no Laffer curve. There's no avoiding it. There's no stimulus. This is the last hurrah. This recession will turn into a depression. It's going to be a 20-year event.
From an undisclosed location somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere, it's everything Wall Street doesn't want you to know, everything the financial media won't tell you, everything mutual fund managers are hiding from you. This is the voice of the underground, the Wall Street Underground.
There's a man who leads a life of danger. To everyone he meets, he stays a stranger.
All the mutual fund promises about this bold new future. How come Wall Streeters aren't running for their lives and mutual fund hucksters? Why is no one talking about the $8 trillion they wiped out?
Secret